Good morning, girls. Welcome to our software engineering revision classes. So, in the last revision class, we had started with user interface design methodology, and in that, we had discussed about the various types of interfaces. So, that's nothing but command language based interface, menu based interface, and direct manipulation interface. Today, let us continue with fundamentals of component based GUI development. So before we start with GUI development, first let us revise what is the interface used in olden days, that is before GUI. So before GUI, there was only a command language based interface, that is a text based interface. And the main reason why a text based interface is used in those days is whatever the terminals that are required to run the GUI, that is the graphical and user interfaces, is very costlier when compared to the cheap terminals which are capable of running any kind of commands. Okay, so for that reason, GUIs has not gained much popularity in the olden days. Olden days, in the sense, since the invention of the computers. Okay, but as the technology improved, this GUI interface has become much popular, that too in the year 1980s. Okay, so around the 1980s, the graphical terminals were like the cost of the graphical terminals are reduced by, because most of the users are interested in using the graphical user interfaces, that is an interface which allows the user to interact more friendly with the application. Okay, so because of that reason, it has gained much popularity, and at the same time, as the popularity is increasing, the cost of the terminals which are used to run this GUI also reduced. Okay, so from there onwards, more demand has been increased on these GUI interfaces. Okay, and the one of the first computer to support these GUI based applications was the Apple Macintosh computer. Now currently most of the interfaces are based on this GUI itself. So before we see how these graphical user interfaces are designed, first we should know what do you mean by a windowing system. Why? Because in the graphical user interface, all the interfacing is done based on the windows. Okay, so first we should know what do you mean by that window, and how those windows are controlled, like what is the windowing management system. Okay, now let us begin with that windowing system. So most of the GUIs are developed based on this windowing system, and this windowing system can generate displays through a set of windows. That means here no more a command based interface is required. No more, we don't require any terminal to enter the commands and to get the services from the application. Rather, the application which is built using GUI will allow us to display a set of actions, that is like whenever you want to perform any task, that task related command in the form of a window is available in front of us on the screen. Okay, so that means here every interaction is somehow related to the windows. Okay, so in this windowing system, generally we'll be having a different collections of windows. Okay, now let us see what do you mean by a window. So generally window is nothing but a rectangular area on the screen. Suppose if you consider this PPT, so whatever the PPT that you are seeing, whatever the white screen that you are seeing, this entire white screen is nothing but a window for us. Okay, so this window is considered to be a virtual screen, and it provides an interface to the user for carrying out independent activities. That is, one window can be used for editing the program, and others can be using for drawing the pictures, and other window may be used for the saving the file, and so on. Okay, so in order to perform different independent activities, we can open different windows. And generally this window contains two main regions, that is client part and the non-client part. So coming to the client part, the client part makes up the whole of the window except for the borders and scroll bars, and the non-client area of the window determines the look and feel of the window. For example, if you consider this window, so in this window, just a Word file is open, right? So just you are able to see the Word file, and in this Word file, whatever the part of the window that is available for user, to perform some task, that that region is called as a client area. Okay, so here if you observe this page screen, okay, so here the user can perform some editing. Okay, so that region is called as a client area, and whatever the rest of the part that is used for deciding the look and feel of this client area or the entire window is nothing but a non-client part. So if you consider the toolbar of this Word document, okay, so it is nothing but a non-client part which decides the look and feel of the client area or entire window. Okay, so the look and feel defines the basic behavior for all windows, such as creating, moving, resizing, iconifying of the windows, etc. Okay, so generally this look and feel, that is what in this example the toolbar will decide what would be the size of the window, what kind of displaying has to be done, what kind of effects that can be given, how to save. Okay, all those activities are available only in the non-client part. Okay. A graphical interface might consist of large number of windows. So obviously yes. So generally in GUI we come across various windows. Okay. So it is necessary to have some systematic way to manage all these windows. So here each and every window is performing certain activity, right? So whenever you are using any application, obviously that application is not but it does not perform any particular activity. Rather it is having the capability to perform various activities. That means it will provide various services to the users. Okay, so in order to support all these activities, that is in order to make use of the services, make use of all these kind of services from the application, the GUI obviously it will design various windows. Okay, so that means for a single application we may come across at least 10 windows. Okay, that means these 10 windows may support for various activities. So in order to manage that large amount of windows, we need to have some systematic way, some systematic approach. Okay, so for that purpose we will be making use of a WMS, that's nothing but a window management system. Now let us see what is that window management system. So GUIs are developed using a window management system, which is primarily a resource manager which keeps track of a screen area resource and allocates it to different windows which are using the screen. So here a resource is nothing but some object. For example, if you are chosen some like a menu item, okay, that's nothing but some resource. Okay, it is providing some set of options to us. Okay. From a broader perspective, a WMS can be considered as a user interface management system. That means a window management system is also called as user interface management system. It does not only perform resource management, but it also provides basic behavior of the windows, and it also provides various utilities to the application programmer for user interface development. And how it is providing these two extra activities means, like this WMS simplifies the task of the GUI designer to a great extent by providing basic behavior of the various windows such as move, resize, iconify, etc. as soon as they are created. So that means this WMS, window management system, it is not only performing a resource management in the sense whatever the objects that are used in a window, or we can also say the management of various windows. Okay, so it is not only managing or controlling the various windows in any application, it is also controlling the behavior of those windows objects. Like moving a window from one location to the another location on the screen, and resizing, iconifying, etc. Okay, all these behavioral aspects of the windows are also controlled by WMS itself. And at the same time, it is providing some routines to manipulate windows, such as creating the window, destroying it, changing the attributes. So changing the attributes in the sense like maximizing, minimizing, or changing the font size, color, foreground color, background color, and so on. Okay, so all these like the commands, such a kind of commands or such a kind of routines to manipulate the windows are also controlled by this window management system. So what this WMS is doing, it is controlling the various windows that are available in the GUI, and at the same time it is controlling the behavior of all the items that are present in the window, and at the same time it is providing routines to manipulate the windows. Okay, generally this WMS consists of two parts. One is a window manager and the other one is a window system. So now let us begin with the window manager. This window manager plays an important role. This window manager itself is used by the user, like it acts like an interface between the user and the window system. Okay, user interacts with the window manager to do various window related operations such as window repositioning, resizing, iconifying, etc. And this window manager can also control the screen's real estate policy. Window manager makes use of various services provided by the window system and determines how the windows look and behave. Several kind of window managers can be based on the same window system. For example, let us see here. So this is a window system. So here the window system is providing us like it is managing all the windows that are used in our application, and it is also providing the routines to manipulate the windows, and it is also concentrating the behavioral aspects of the objects or items that are available in the window. Now, how to use the windows that are available in this window system? So that can be done either by using a window manager, or we can also have any application program. Okay, so that means a user can make use of a user interface of the Windows system either by using a window manager or by using any application program. So that means this window system provides services to window manager and application program equally. So using which the user can interact with the application, that is the software whatever he is going to use. Okay, so this window system, coming to the window system, it provides a large number of routines for the programmer, and it is very cumbersome to use these large set of routines. Therefore, most user interface development systems provide a high level abstraction called widgets. So this window system is also providing us high routines in order to control the behavioral of the windows, in order to manipulate the windows. So all these higher level all these together can be considered as a widgets. That means instead of providing in the form of routines, what this user interface is doing means most of the user interface development systems are providing some higher level abstractions instead of providing you the routines in the sense commands. So now what they are providing means they are allowing us to develop a higher level abstraction, and those high level abstractions are called as widgets. So the main advantage of these widgets is we don't write any code to create a window. Rather, we drag and drop in the code space where the GUI has to be created. And for manipulating the attributes of that particular window or window item, we will be writing that code itself. Okay, so here now our task has become easier with the introduction of this high level abstraction called widgets. Now let us see what are those widgets. So these widgets is nothing but a short form of window object. Whatever the object that is we see on a window is nothing but a window object. That is uh, an object is essentially a collection of related data with several operations defined on those data. Suppose if you open any Word file, in the Word file you can see in the toolbar you can see various options like a menu, and in the menu like you can see open, close, save as, right? So all these options are related to file manipulation. Okay, and just beside that you can see a review, view, page layout, like you will be having different available options. Okay, and in these options, like whatever the options that are available in that toolbar can be considered as a objects. Okay, so now we can call them as a window object. Okay, each object now uh, will perform a similar task. Okay, the data of a window object are geometric attributes such as size, location, and other attributes can be its background and foreground color. Okay, like the information related to any widget on the window is nothing but its geometrical attributes and other attributes like its background color and the foreground color. And the operations related to these window objects are like resize, move, draw, etc. A development system based on widgets is called as component based or widget based GUI development system. So if we are developing any user interface by making use of these widgets, then that kind of user interface development is called as component based GUI development style or widget based GUI development style. Okay. Now let us see the advantages of widgets. So one of the most important reason to use widgets as a building block is it provides consistency. Consistency means like always it remains constant. So whatever the application you are using that particular window, okay, always it performs the same task. Or if at all you are using that a particular window object for one task, and if the same window object is used in the same application for some other task or for some other activity, it should behave similar, it should behave same. For example, if at all any button is used to cut the text, okay, so that means just it will allow you to select the text and cut the text. Okay, and if the same button is used in some other activity in that application itself, it has to perform the same task. Just it should allow the user to select the text and cut the text. Okay, so that's what the consistency is. Okay, so the major advantage of these window objects is they provide consistency. If there is a consistency, obviously it will improve the speed of learning of user interface. Obviously it will reduce the recalling system of the users to use the user interface. Okay, so many advantages are there. Okay, so this consistent user interfaces will improve the user's productivity. It leads to higher performance with fewer errors, and it also helps the user to learn and interface quickly. That's what speed of learning is. Okay, in this style of development, the user interface for different applications are built for same basic components. So users can easily extend their knowledge of interface of one application to another. So if at all you are using a widget for developing a GUI of one application, and if the same widget is used for development of GUI in another application, then obviously since they are same, right? So since you are using the same basic components, obviously you will learn the next user interface very faster. Okay, why? Because you are already habituated with the previous one. Okay, and it also reduces the learning time. Now let us discuss briefly about what are the various types of widgets that are available to us. So generally, the widgets are classified like label widget, container widget, pop-up and pull-down menu, dialog boxes, push button, radio buttons, combo boxes. Now let's begin with the label widget. So a label widget is nothing but a small window or a small layered area where it will allow you to enter the text. Okay, so it does nothing except to display the label, and it does not have any interaction capabilities, and it is not sensitive to mouse clicks. That means click if you mouse click on that label widget, nothing happens. Okay, generally if at all you click if at all you do the mouse click on any screen, on any part of the screen, like a set of options will be displayed, like refresh the page, okay, so and so information, like a certain settings will be displayed. But whenever you do the same task on the label widget, nothing will be happen. That is, it is insensitive to the mouse click. Okay, so simply it's nothing but a text region where it will allow you to enter some text, and it does not perform any kind of interaction. Okay, next comes container widget. So this container widget, this cannot stand by themselves. That means generally we can't have a single container widget. Rather, if at all we group a similar widgets in one location, right, that can be considered as a container widget. That means the container widget contains the collection of similar widgets. Okay, so here the other widgets are created as a children of the container widget. When a container widget is moved or resized, obviously its child widgets also get moved or resized. Next, coming to the pop-up and pull-down menu. Pop-up menus are transient and task specific. This menu appears when the mouse button is pressed irrespective of the mouse position. So for example, just you place the mouse on the screen and just you right click it. Okay, what happens, some set of a small window will be appeared, like it will provide you some set of system properties, refresh the page. Okay, some set of options will be available. Okay, so that is called as a pop-up menu. So wherever you click on the mouse, other than this label widget, okay, so wherever you click on the screen area, same menu will appear. Okay, that kind of menus are called as pop-up menus. Coming to the pull down menus, these are more permanent and general. So in pop-up menu, where it doesn't bother about the location where you are clicking it. Okay, so wherever you click, it is performing the same task. But pull down menu is quite opposite to us. They are provided some permanent regions to them. Okay, for example, if at all you are pulling down the screen of your mobile phone, okay, so some whatever the whatever the options or whatever the screen now you had seen, okay, that's nothing but a pull down menu. Okay, so it is permanent, it is given a permanent location. So for example, if you consider the mobile phones, it is present in the top of the screen. Okay, so here you need to move the cursor to the specific location and pull down this type of menu. Okay, next comes dialog box. Dialog boxes. Dialog boxes help to select multiple elements from a selection list. The dialog box remains visible until explicitly dismissed by the user. So generally, these dialog boxes will help us to select multiple elements from a selection list. You'll be provided with some set of options, and for example, if at all you are asked to select what are your favorite colors, Okay, here you are asked to select the favorite colors. Then obviously you may not end with you may not select a single color, rather you may select two or more colors. Okay, so that kind of a windowing object is provided by these dialog boxes. And these dialog boxes can include areas for entering the text as well as the values. So it not only allows the user to have to select multiple elements, but some dialog boxes will also include the areas for entering certain text or values. If apply command is supported, the effect of newly entered values can be tried out without dismissing the box. So for example, if you consider a dialog box which has asked you to enter some color like a font color and font size, and if this dialog box is combined or provided along with the apply command. Okay, so here you are having a dialog box, and that dialog box is asking you to enter the font size and color, and it is also provided with the apply command. So now what happens on applying, that is on clicking the apply command, whatever the font color and size you had set, that will be applied on the given text, that will be available on, that will be applied on the selected text. Okay, so in that case, I mean, in the that kind of interaction, such a kind of interactions, we can make use of dialog box. So this dialog box can also be used for some other purposes, like some dialog box are just used to display some alerting message to the user, like whenever a user is performing any unintended task, like whenever the user is trying to open a file which cannot be opened by user, by that particular user, that means if at all he is not having a permission, then a dialog box will be appeared like you don't have privileges to open this file. Okay, so that is also a kind of dialog box. So these dialog boxes are used for selecting the multiple elements, they are used for entering the text, and if apply button is used along with this dialog box, then whatever the text you had entered, that text will be affected. Okay, that means that particular entered text will be applied on the given region. And at the same time, these dialog boxes can also be used for displaying some alert messages. Okay, next comes push button. A push button contains some keywords or pictures that describe the action it triggers when you activate a button. So these buttons you come across whenever you are submitting any forms, like whenever you open any registration form, after filling the entire registration form, at the end of the registration form you can see a button with name submit. Okay, if you click on that submit button, what is happening? Your form is just submitted to the given website. That means here that submit button is a kind of push button, just it is telling you, it is provided with some keyword, and whatever the keyword you see there, that particular action is performed. That means on a submit button, what the keyword given is submit. So just by clicking on that button, what is happening? Submission of your form is taking place. Okay, so such a kind of buttons are called as push buttons. A push button usually acts immediately when you click the button unless it is placed in a ellipsis. That means whenever a push button is placed within a ellipse, it indicates that another dialog box will appear. That means it will not trigger the activity immediately. Rather, it indicates that there is another dialog box inside it. Okay. Next comes radio buttons. A radio button is a hollow circle followed by text, and generally these radio buttons are used to select one option among the given multiple options. For example, you can find these radio buttons whenever you are asked to enter your gender, like you will be provided with a male, female and transgender. Okay, so obviously you need to select one among that. Okay, so in that case we can make use of the radio buttons. These radio buttons will allow us to select only one option among the multiple options. Okay. Next comes combo boxes. These combo boxes are quite opposite to the radio buttons. Okay, in the radio buttons you are having a flexibility to select only one option among the multiple options, but whereas the combo options, it will allow you to select multiple options from the given options. Okay, so it looks like a button until the user interact with it. When the user presses or clicks it, the combo box displays a menu of items to choose from. It is used to display either one of the many choices when space is limited, the number of choices is large, or when the menu items are computed at the runtime. So that's all about the graphical user interface. In the next class, that is in the next revision session, let us start with the overview of X window or Motix. So that's nothing but how this GUI is done, what is the methodology to be followed in order to create the graphical user interfaces. Okay, thank you.